Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the COP Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are on a fantastic day from wherever you are around the world. And welcome to our Leeds match preview show. Of course, the Reds are back in action. Of course, look, football has been away, of course, due to international football. But look, the Reds are back. They're back against Leeds, and let's preview the game that is going to be happening Sunday. I think it's the only Super Sunday because for some reason Everton and Burnley are Monday Night Football for some reason. But of course, talking about Liverpool and Leeds, of course, there's the news as well, but the Brazilian lads as well. We'll be discussing all about that in tonight's show anyway. But if you could, please feel free to leave a like and also as well hit that subscribe button if you're new to the COP Council as well. Be very much appreciated as always. And let me know your thoughts about the Leeds game in the comment section down below if you're watching on repeat, and as well start 11 predictions and of course score predictions as well. If you guys want to let me know, then please feel free to, and I'll reply to everyone in the comment section down below anyway. But of course, let's talk about anything else, and that is of course no Alisson or Fabinho for the Reds. Of course, it was announced thanks to the Brazilian FA and FIFA that they have banned all Brazilians. I want to say all Brazilians, but it's not realistically, because Richarlison is pretty much the golden boy for Brazil. He isn't a part of this because he went to the Olympics, but pretty much all of the Brazilian players that would have gone to play for Brazil in the World Cup qualifiers have been pretty much suspended from play. And of course, that includes Alisson Becker, Fabinho, and it would have been Bobby Firmino as well, but of course Bobby is out injured. Of course, other teams have suffered as well. Rafinha for Leeds, Thiago Silva for Chelsea, Edison and Gabriel Jesus cannot play for their teams as well, so it's only them. And of course, like I said, Richarlison is the only person that hasn't been punished, then you could say. He's been exempt because of course he went with Brazil to the Olympics, which look shouldn't be a thing, and I think it's pretty much a disgrace that he's been pulled aside, and I could say anyway. But no Ali, no Fabinho for the Reds, which is of course is a huge shame. Look, Alisson Becker for us, as we know, the world's best goalkeeper. Fabinho for us, so important as well as in our opinion, the world's best DM. And look, should they get punished for doing the correct thing? I don't think so. Look, how many times have we spoken during this pandemic and saying that the Premier League's done this wrong and the clubs have done this wrong, and the one time that they do things correct and they do things within the law and things like that, they get punished for it. And I think, particularly in my personal opinion, it is wrong for the clubs to be punished, for the players more necessary to be punished, because I think Jurgen Klopp spoke earlier in the press conference. He said that the teams wanted the players to go, the players wanted to go and play, but it was physically impossible to go and do that. And quite frankly, it's a real shame that they have been punished, in my opinion anyway. But a little bit of a quote, of course, that did come out of Jurgen's press conference, I should say, today anyway. Of course, Arsene Wenger was at the Kirby training facility, giving out awards and so forth, and Jurgen did have a meeting with him and another FIFA official, saying Klopp says when he's had a meeting with Wenger and another FIFA official before the international break, they discussed the World Cup plans. They all agreed the players couldn't possibly go and then quarantine for 10 days. Now, that is what has practically happened with, what's happened, then you could say. It's very weird, the fact that this situation has happened the way it has. And like we talked about Richarlison, and what's happened there, and him being exempt from this. Look at the Argentinian lads that went there, and looked at, that game in particular between Argentina and Brazil, them getting shoved off the pitch. What was it? Emi Martinez, Buendia, Lo Celso, and Romano from Tottenham. It was very interesting, wasn't it? How well, realistically, it happened. I think we were all pretty much shocked, what was happening, but we all knew that the outer details of it. So, in my personal opinion, it's a crazy situation, and for me, I think it's a real shame that pretty much, they cannot, be playing for the Reds on Sunday. It's the same as well with, the Manchester City's guys, Edison and Gabriel Jesus. Of course, I don't want them to play their rival. Team going for the title, but it's like the horse on the other shoe, isn't it? I wish Fabinho could play. I wish Ali could play. The player shouldn't get punished realistically for Brazil. Doing this. I know Mexico was also going to do it, but of course they've released Raul Jimenez to Wolves as well, so he can play tomorrow. So yeah, there's no details on it, but it does look highly unlikely that both will play. Won't play against Leeds anyway. Jackson saying hello, Reds. Hello, Jack. Hopefully you're okay. Did you not ask Carl, Connor? No, I forgot to. To be fair, and I thought he was very busy anyway. Crazy that shouldn't be under control from the clubs. One rule for another. One for another. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Pretty sure he would have done a preview with you. Yeah, mate. Look, I've completely run out of time. The last couple of days. That's why I haven't been on. Apologies for that as well. No previews, no shows. The last couple of days, we are going to get back into the rhythm of things, and of course, we have an entire week of shows. Of course, the Champions League's back after the round of the Premier League, but of course, Liverpool Leeds is the more crucial talking point anyway. But just talking quickly on the game itself, we all know Leeds United. Very attractive football under Bielsa. Bielsa's going to have them working very hard. It's going to be a very interesting game, I would say, between the both clubs. I think, look, Bielsa, Klopp, they have very similar styles of football, but a little differences in there as well. Of course, one player that I think would have been very interesting to watch if he could have played would have been Rafinha. I know that myself and plenty of Reds included looked at him in the summer and was very optimistic with his numbers and his performance is and that. And I think, look, if Liverpool could have got him for a nice price, I would have loved for him to go on for them. But look, Leeds have done a fantastic job over Nathan's coming back into the Premier League. Do they, have second season syndrome? Potentially, of course, getting beat by Manchester United. What was it, 5-1? And others as well. But look, for me, I think Leeds, they're a well-worked side, aren't they? They're an excellent side, when they are on it. Whether Liverpool can break that, of course, it's going to be a very high-pressured game, very high press, in terms of Leeds. For example, Naby Keita's going to thrive in this game. Thiago over years, brought in, to be one of the eights, that would be, fantastic, I think, realistically. And it will be very interesting. So I think the midfield battle, especially, is going to be where the game's going to be won or lost for Liverpool. I think, look, of course, I think Liverpool are going to win the game, but I do think it will either be a very successful day for Liverpool, or a very tough day, especially in the midfield. Anyway, how do you expect Liverpool to counterbalance Leeds' game plan? Look, I think just go all out attack. I think that's all you can do. I think United. They played it smart, didn't they? They allowed Leeds to have confidence, didn't they? And then they just hit them on the counter attack for about 15 minutes and scored 4 goals from there. So I think that is where Liverpool, I think, might do it. I think we might settle back a little bit, allow them to, use all their energy, use all their press, and then we'll just, go for it. And we look back at the games for Liverpool, the 4-3 last season at Anfield, what a game that was for the start of the season. And of course, the 1-1 draw, of course, we didn't really take notice of the game because, of course, the Super League was, the major talking point, the major, event then that happened before the game. So we didn't really take notice of it. But, I think, watching back a few highlights earlier on, Liverpool, deserved to win the game, but was unfortunate by not taking opportunities. How many times did we say that last season with Liverpool, and not taking the correct opportunities? But look, I think, of course, having Van Dijk back, having, I'd say, a pretty strong squad, starting 11 and bench. Harvey Elliott's going to be there. Virgil van Dijk, thankfully, is okay. Didn't pick up, an injury. Of course, going down for Holland. Everyone had their hearts in their mouths, but it will be excellent then that we haven't got a Virgil van Dijk injury. Of course, Naby is back, thankfully, after all that stuff that happened. And look, I think we're pretty much only without Bobby and Minamino as well. I think we have everyone else back fit and available, so that's very good as well. Of course, Harvey Elliott as well. That's going to be interesting to see whether or not Harvey Elliott plays as well. Of course, big game against Chelsea. It will be very, very interesting to see if he is brought in against Leeds anyway. I think that could be a major, major factor. To be fair, Arthur's in saying don't like Adrian in goal. Our bench. Don't like Adrian in goal, and our bench is shocking. I think that's it. I don't think it is shocking. I think Liverpool have pretty decent numbers at the moment, I would say, but of course that does depend on injuries. I would say as well. Jack says midfield will be interesting, Connor. And chat, who would you pick? The press from both teams will be key. Need players that will be able to play under the press. Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, let's get into starting 11 predictions. And this is what I've personally gone for Leeds. I do think Kelleher will start. I don't think people could panic about Adrian. I think Adrian, he's clearly the third choice keeper, but I think it will be Kelleher. I do think then it will be Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk, and Andy Robertson. Of course, Champions League in midweek, Jurgen may change one or two things. Might be Tsimikas in at left back, and maybe Robbo might play against AC Milan. But look, I think the league is pretty much the main focus this season. Get that back from Manchester City, of course, and then the midfield three is, of course, the big main talking point. Who will play there? I think it's pretty much guaranteed who's going to be in the DM. It's going to be Jordan Henderson as the replacement for Fabinho, and then I personally think it will be Naby Keita on the left-hand side, and then I do think it will be Thiago Alcantara on the right-hand side for Liverpool. It could be, I think, Naby and Hendo are pretty much nailed on in terms of starting positions, I should say, for this game. And as you can see as well, before I do speak about extra midfield position, of course, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, and Diogo Jota as well. But in terms of that third midfield spot, it's going to be very interesting to see who does play there. I think Naby, he's done nothing wrong, in my opinion, to be dropped, especially against Chelsea. Really wanted him to have a go at that Chelsea defence, 2 weeks ago. Even Ox as well. Ox is an option on that right-hand side. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Thiago Alcantara. It's, Liverpool have plenty of options there, which is very, very interesting. And of course, with Taki being injured, with Taki being injured, Bobby being injured, I personally think that Ox is the next attacking option that we have. I think Ox is over Divock Origi, which Divock is the only forward that is registered that's left non-injured, apart from, of course, the front three. But I personally think that Ox would be the option before Divock Origi. Guys, let me know your thoughts on that. But I do think pretty much Harvey will be ahead of him. Ox will be ahead of him. I don't think Origi. I don't think he's going to get much game time this year. I think he might get 1 or 2 games, starting anyway. Whether or not Jurgen will put him on the bench and playing will be another question anyway. But I do think it will be Thiago in that third midfield slot with Naby Keita and Jordan Henderson. Hendo as a 6, Mr. Reliable, but they, of course, not really a number 6, but we all know he can do a job there. And of course, we've spoken about the high press as well. I think Naby and Thiago, they'll thrive under that. We've seen in games, especially last season, Thiago, in those last 10 games, when put under pressure, doing fantastically well with that. And Naby, he always loves the high press, doesn't he? He loves players getting at him. He can just dribble past them and break through and hopefully get Liverpool a few goals anyway. But for me personally, I think Liverpool are going to win by 3-1. I do think it will be a back and forth game. I do think Liverpool, we have to hit them early, in my personal opinion. I think we have to, just go at Leeds with, everything we've got, but we've got to be, cautious, I would say, because Leeds, they're a very well run side. Patrick Bamford, he's an excellent forward, and recently, he came out that Liverpool were interested in him, but he didn't want to come to Liverpool to be a backup forward. He wants to be the main man, and at Leeds, he's doing that. Bamford, he's doing that. Since leaving Chelsea, a couple of spells in the Championship, joining Leeds in the Championship, and then being so good, last season for them. Very surprising, I think, to many of us. I thought Leeds might struggled with that. I think we all thought was it Rodri? I think we all thought would have been their main striker, but Bamford's done fantastically well. Like we said, if Rafinha was playing, that would have been another option for them. But it will be very interesting to see what they do and how they play as well. But for me personally, guys, I'm going to go for 3-1 for Liverpool. Hopefully we'll bounce back better than that Chelsea draw, because I think many of us were very much disappointed after that anyway. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know who you think will start in the midfield. Excuse me. And yeah, just let me know your general thoughts about the Leeds game. Jack, I said, the midfield's going to be very, very crucial. I absolutely agree. I think it will be very, very crucial for Liverpool. And I do think as well, that is where the game will be won or lost for Liverpool in terms of getting 3 points or not. Anyway, but guys, thank you so very much for tuning in. If you have, sorry it's such a short, match preview show. I wanted to, bring a little bit of a short preview back. The first video, of course, we'll be doing a post-match show, after the game on Sunday. We'll also as well be doing the Champions League content as well. Hopefully we'll have a few special guests, for the first game back for the Champions League. And as well, we're going to be doing a very, very interesting video on a certain Borussia Dortmund player as well, called Jude Bellingham as well. Maybe a little bit of spoilers there, but, we'll be bringing that to you anyway. But, hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed, the quick, 17-minute preview. Fingers crossed anyway. If you have, then please feel free to share it out to the lovely Liverpool community anyway. Tag me in as well on Twitter, at the COP Council, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you're on anyway. As well, please feel free to leave a like as well and hit that subscribe button if you're new here anyway. Be very much appreciated to have that chat anyway, and the new people in here as well. But guys, please stay safe as well. COVID numbers are rising at the moment anyway, and just please stay safe. Please have a fantastic rest of your day. If you don't see us over the weekend, have a fantastic weekend as well, guys. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in anyway. I've been Connor from the COP Council, and fingers crossed Liverpool can get all 3 points on Sunday anyway.